So I'm out on another little adventure in the beautiful Peak District, and I brought with me my lightweight backpacking kit. And one of the complaints that many campers have is that they can't get a good night's sleep. But one company, ZenBivy, say sleep in a bed, not in a bag. So tonight I'm going to put that claim to the test and have a go with their new ZenBivy ultralight bed system. And apparently it's been designed to be just like your bed at home, with a mattress, sheet and a quilt, so you can have a draft-free night under the stars. Let's get in a tent and get things set up. So this is the mattress, by the way, which is inflatable ZenBivy ultralight pad. So this is the complete system. So you've got an insulated mattress. In here I've got a quilt, a sheet, I've got a pillow, and then you've also got this dry sack, which has got one of these little one-way valves in it, so you can squash all of the air out really easily. Decent bit of kit actually. You can customise the setup to exactly how you want it. So, full disclaimer, this was sent to me by ZenBivy to test out, so anything that I say about it, obviously take it with a little bit of scepticism, because I would do that if somebody was sent a bit of gear. But they've got no input in what I say on the video. I don't get paid or anything like that. I've got a nice setup out of it, and I've used this before, so it's not the first time I've used it. However, it is the first time I've used this complete system with this sleeping pad. So I've been using the Nemo Eclipse recently, so be able to do a decent comparison, comfort, and how this compares to that. The quilt that I've gone for synthetic. So I haven't got a synthetic quilt, and I needed a little bit of colour in my life. So this is the ultralight kit. So it's the ultralight bed, it is called. So the ultralight mattress, ultralight quilt, synthetic. I think it is Climate Shield or Primaloft. Can't get a signal to have a look, but I will put it on the screen. I've remembered it's Primaloft Gold. I think this goes down to around 0 degrees, so it's going to be plenty warm enough for me today. I haven't weighed everything, but I will put weights for all of these individual things on the screen. But let's just get it set up and I'll show you just how good a system it is, in my opinion anyway. But is it as comfortable as they say? Is it like sleeping in a real bed? This is a mattress. So I've got the wide mattress, regular wide. I think, I'm pretty sure this is the Flex Air one. It's got like a softer, more flexible material, so it is more comfortable. So I've used this pad before, but not with this full system. I haven't brought a pump with me, so I'm just going to be using the stuff sack for the pad, which doubles up as an inflator as well. Although it doesn't put as much air in as some of the other inflatable bags out there, it does get the job done, and it's quicker than blowing it up with your mouth. One little breath there fills the bag, and because of the way that the pattern on this forms, it doesn't actually take that much air to inflate it. So I found with this pad, to get it its most comfortable, you actually want to put a good amount of air in there. So it feels quite firm, but each one of these is like an individual pocket. It's really good, and it's like a stretchy material on the Flex version anyway, which it is a comfortable pad. One for good luck. Mattress sorted. And next up we've got a sheet. So this, because it's the ultralight version, it's like a half sheet. So this goes over the mattress at the top. And then there's a couple of little pad straps that go underneath. I can find the end of it. And they just clip together. Voila. There we go. As good as a Premier Inn. Guaranteed night's sleep. And then we'll stick the quilt on. So you can notice these little coloured loops on here. Green, yellow, blue. They correspond with these little clips on here. Green, blue and yellow. Foot end down here. And then let's just get these clipped in. So you can see this little bit of the sheet there. It's a draft collar. So the yellow one goes in there. Green, and there's another yellow one at the top. So that holds your quilt in place in the middle of the night, stopping any draft. So once you're in here, yeah, the drafts are gone. This tucks in here. Once we've got the full bed made up, I will show you. But you would clip the other side in like this, but I would do this once I'd got into bed. Dead easy. Or sometimes I just leave it open because I do like to kick the quilt off sometimes. This bit of the quilt tucks under there. And you've got a nice warm cosy bed. Obviously you're going to need a pillow as well. Which is here. Now, if you've got a bright pink and yellow quilt, you're going to need bright blue pillow to go with it. So this is made up of 3 sections. So you've got the nice soft cover there. You've got an inflatable part so you can have the pillow pumped up as much as you want. And then there is this synthetic or down, depending which you've bought, insert there. So that just adds the comfort element to it. That fits inside there. Get that in and blow it up. You can use the pump sack if you want. There we go. That's your pillow sorted. Now you can adjust it by pressing this little button here. Let some air out if you want a thinner pillow. You know, side sleepers, back sleepers, one pillow does it all. And you may have guessed it, it's got these little hook things on here as well, so you clip your pillow in. The pillow clips in there. Not sure you can see it very well. But it stops it moving about. That is one of the flaws of camping pillows. They go all over the place. You've got this little hood here as well, so your pillow's not going anywhere. Now some people like to sleep inside that, so it's like the hood of a sleeping bag. My personal preference is just to stick that there like that and just sleep on the pillow. I don't bother with the hood anymore. But yeah, that is really comfy. So there we go, the ZenBivy ultralight bed system in bright pink. What do you reckon? I do love the colour. Jo is so envious that I've got this pink one and she's got a dark one. Hers is much warmer version than mine. In fact, she stole it from me, so hence me getting another one. So yeah, thank you ZenBivy for sending this. I have had it quite a while and I've not done a proper video on it yet, but I have used it a couple of times. I wanted to test it first and just to get some use out of it before I gave my opinions on it. Yeah, it's a lovely bit of kit, but is it as comfy as a real bed? We'll find out tonight. Here it comes.
Everybody in!
Head for cover. You know what, I just want to stand in it for a minute. I'm not getting soaked. I've missed rain, have you? What have we had? I think we've had 23 days without a drop, something like that.
Yeah.
I reckon we're going to get a good downpour now though. Come on. If it don't stop, I'll see you at morning. Let's give this a bit of a test, shall we? It is good. I don't need that unless it's to keep the sun out. I use it as another pillow topper. I have got an extra pillow as well, because I do like mine really high. But this isn't ZenBivy. It is almost bedtime, so let's take a look at how you get into this ZenBivy bed. Now you don't have to clip everything in, this is just for belts and braces, but you know, I've got cold fingers because I've been stood outside talking to Woody. Much easier if you'd use two hands. And then just unravel your bed. It's loads quieter than some of the air mattresses out there. The sheet's got a lot to do with it, but this stretchy material is really forgiving. Just listen to it. There's a tiny amount of noise, but you know, nothing major. Now, this is down to personal preference. I don't always bother doing this. But the official thing to do is to get your colour-coded clips. Where are they? Green to green. Last one, which is this yellow one. And then we are in. And there's no drafts. Everything is cozy. You might not believe me, but this is the truth. This is more comfortable than our bed at home. Our mattress is rubbish. We went to one of those like dreams showrooms where they put you on like a scanner. You lay down on this thing, they scan you, tell you what kind of mattress you want. And we came home with what the lady wanted to sell us, which is not comfortable. Might just get these set up in the bedroom. There's plenty of room at the bottom for my feet. I'll give you my final verdict in about 8 hours. I'm not in a rush to get out of bed. I said bed, didn't I? Is it like sleeping in a bed? Yeah, in a way. So I absolutely trucked it down this morning about 3:30. So up until that point I hadn't clipped myself in. It just felt nice just to get wrapped up. So I didn't turn the light on or anything. It was quite easy. So I did this in the dark. So basically, when you're asleep, you can just feel this little draft thing. You can work your way down it, feel the little clips. Let me show you. So I did that till I got to the bottom one. And there's a little seam here on the actual quilt, so you can feel the little loops on here as well. And it's just a case of putting 2 and 2 together without looking at what you're doing. I didn't bother fastening the top one up, but then because I like to be able to just throw the covers open and just let a bit of cool air in if I want to. Somewhat good about this in there. And because it's all like a bed, you can just roll over and the quilt stays where it's supposed to stay. The sheet doesn't move, and I'm a wriggler. I can do that as many times as I want. This just stays in place, which is brilliant. So the whole system works really well. It is really comfortable. Starting off with the bed itself, or the mattress. It is one of the most comfortable pads that I've slept on. I think I've got the Flex Air version, which is the stretchier material, so it's got some sort of give in it. You know, it's quiet as well, and yeah, because of the stretch, you know, sometimes when I lay on my side, I wake up with like a dead arm, but none of that. Although, you know, when you sit on it, it's not quite as thick as my Nemo Eclipse, and you know, if I give the Nemo Eclipse a 10 for comfort, and we give this a 9, the Nemo is still comfy mattress in my opinion, and you know, hence the reason that there were 2 occasions when I've took this quilt and bed, I've used the Nemo Eclipse pad with it. But I'm not saying that it's not comfortable, because it is. This is better than I thought it would be. It does add that extra level, you know, the sheet. It does add that extra level of luxury. Now this is the ultralight version, so you know, the sheet only goes down to the, I'd say, top third. But that gives you room to be able to stick your feet out and stuff like that if you want to. The quilt's got like a foot box in it, which is easy to access. If you get the full ZenBivy bed, you know, the main version, we'll call it, I can't remember what it's called now, that comes with a full length sheet, but it's a bit heavier. This quilt is great. Even the colour kept me nice and warm, but yeah, I think it said it feels like 8 degrees it was going to be last night, so it was never going to be a problem, was it really? And you know, clipping it in means that you're always covered. There's no drafts or anything like that. I've had one side clipped in all night, and as I said, from 3:30 onwards I clipped the other side in. See what I mean about the draft thing? So this just keeps everything in place. You know, one thing to consider, there isn't any adjustment on here. So the room inside, once you've got it clipped in both sides, is what it is. So if you've got one of these, you might have less room to move around than if you've not got a big belly. I suppose they could, if they wanted, have put another set of loops down here. So you've got like an expanded version. That would be a good idea. I will feed that back to ZenBivy. but it's not bothered me, and I'm a chunky lad. The hood thing is, well, it has been for me, and it will be for me, an unnecessary thing. Yeah, I don't use a hood. I don't use one in my sleeping bag when I use one. So it's just been an additional cover for my pillow. These little blocks for the pillow are good, because usually in the middle of the night my pillows tend to go they have a mind of their own, they go AWOL. So the clip thing is a good thing. However, because I sleep warm, one thing that I like when I'm in bed is a cold pillow. So usually, let's say that I'm using something like this here. I'll start off sleeping like that, and then maybe an hour later, it's nice and cold that now. I'll turn it over, and then I'll sleep on the other side when that's cold, and let the bottom cool down a bit. So constantly, I like to move my pillow for the comfort, and especially the coldness, which normally people don't want cold, but I do. On my pillow I do anyway. And I can't really do that with this. So instead I end up just moving around on the pillow a bit. And I tend to switch from being, laid on my side to laid on my back for a little bit, which, like, this section's cold now. And then I might lay on the other side and lay on this section of the pillow. So it works for me, works fine, but yeah, I'm usually, when I'm at home, is I have a pillow that I can just move around at will. But when you're camping, that pillow, with it being an inflatable one, that's why I prefer this one to the inflatable pillows. The inflatable just goes wherever it wants. So the quality of the system is brilliant, but you would expect that because it is a pricey item. I've had a look, and this system for the ultralight version is around £650, which is ouch. They do I think it's called the dirt bag, which is a more entry level version with which is a little bit cheaper. So if let's say you've got a down filled quilt, the dirt bag might not have as high a fill power. The less premium down inside, but yeah, that's just how the whole industry works. The more premium stuff you get, the more it costs you. Well, it's one of those things you can pay £200 for a sleeping pad. You can pay £300, £400 for a sleeping bag. When you're talking premium stuff anyway, and this has got the sheet, this has got the pillow, the stuff sack, all of that kind of stuff as part of the kit. And if you wanted to, you can buy elements of this individually. So let's say you've already got a sleeping pad that you love, you could buy a sheet for it and a quilt. If you didn't want the pillow section, you could just use your pillow that you normally use. So sometimes I do that. I don't bother with the pillow that comes with these systems, and I use my own pillow, because the sheet, it still holds it in place. So this little hood, if I took this one out, not that I'm going to, I could shove that pillow in there and it's held in place how I would normally have my pillow, and then I can turn it round when I want to. So it works in different ways. So probably one of the biggest selling points for me is you've got all of the benefits of a sleeping bag. Draft proof, you can tuck yourself in, you can have the hood, you can proper get yourself comfy and hunkered down if the weather's cold, or you just want to feel ultimately snug. But when I do that in a sleeping bag, I suddenly feel claustrophobic. I can't move around the same. I can't stick an arm out. I can't do this. Just roll about, roll over, switch from side to side. I end up in a tangled mess in a sleeping bag. This is just brilliant. You've got plenty of freedom and movement down at the bottom. You can see the foot box here, look. So that holds your feet in, but if you wanted to, you just lift that down and then stick a foot out if you need to. And then back in again in the foot box. So everything is in place and locked away. And then by doing that and having this little draft excluder, we'll call it, all of your warmth that you've built up through the night is trapped inside the quilt. And that coupled with a comfortable insulated pad, you can see why they say it's more like sleeping in a bed than it is sleeping on a pad and a sleeping bag, because this feels like it all belongs together, where sometimes in your sleeping bag, or I just use free quilts sometimes, as in they're not clipped in with a sheet, and the amount of times that I wake up in the night where there's been a cold spot or a draft, because I move around a lot. You don't get that with this system, as long as you clip it in anyway. Right, I suppose I better free myself. Go and take a look at what it's like outside. It's not raining. Probably a good time, isn't it? So as you can probably tell, I am a fan of the ZenBivy. I've listed loads of things that I like about it. Now I'm going to tell you some of the cons from my perspective anyway. First one is, like I said, the price. If you want to buy the complete bed system, this one's about £650. But you can buy it in bits and bobs. And if you've already got some elements like the sleeping pad and your own pillow, you could get the quilt and the sheet, or a quilt and sheet, and you can have a very, very similar kind of system that works for you. The next thing is setting up and taking it down. There is a little bit of work to it, whereas if you just got a sleeping pad and a sleeping bag, you just blow your pad up with one of them little pumps or whatever, or your pump bag, and then you just pull your sleeping bag out of your bag, throw it on top. Job done. This one, as I said, you've got to fit a sheet on it, you've got to clip your pillow on, you've got to clip your quilt and all that kind of stuff, which is, I suppose it's no different to having to make a bed at home, is it? You have got to make your bed with the ZenBivy. Now, if you've got plenty of time, or you've usually got plenty of time when you're in your tent, haven't you? But space is one of those things. So if you're in a really small tent, or you're in a bivy bag or something like that, this is not going to be the setup for you. Can you imagine trying to get this in a Radbridge Raider hoop bivy? It's just not going to happen. But other than that, I really like it. I even like the colour. In fact, I chose pink. I know I might get in some of the comments, but yeah, it's all the rage these days. Right, let's see how easy it is to get this packed up. So we'll start off by, we're going to unclip the quilt itself. There's only got a couple on here, I think. 4 on either side on this particular one. Ooh, there we go. So that is now free. I mentioned this dry sack earlier on. This is a 15 litre dry sack. Handle on, it's a really heavy duty one. And it's got the one-way valve on there to push the air out. So I'm just going to get the quilt in. Fine, if you start at the foot end, so if you've got the down version of this, it will be lighter and it will squash down even smaller. Yeah, some people prefer synthetic. Yeah, they might be allergic to down or might be for ethical reasons. But I don't think you can go down to some of the colder temperatures in their synthetic version. So if you want really cold weather ones, I think you're going to have to get down. But you can see that squashes down really small already, but that's not fully deflated. I can hear that whistle. Right, next job, 2 little clips here. There we go, that's holding the pillow in, so we'll just unclip that. 1 and 2. It is easier with 2 hands, but I'm just showing that you can do it with 1 hand. And you can just keep this all together or separate all the components. To get the air out, you do have to press the button on this. You want to get all of the air out to make this compress as small as possible. I'm actually going to take the inflator bag bit out, then all of this is like soft compressible materials. That's going to go in here on top of the... Right, I'm going to flip the pad over just to show you how the quilt is connected. Not the quilt, the sheet. So it's just like a bit of a loop of material on here. So these come in different sizes, so you might be able to see there's 25 there, so this is for a 25-inch sleeping pad. Here's the little clips that hold it on, just press those and it releases. Take those corners off and that's your sheet done. And you guessed it, shove it in here. Now at this point, if you want, you can either keep the inflatable bit separate, but you can see there's still air in there, so it is easier to separate this to get the last bit of air out. I'm going to shove that on the top there, push that down, start getting the air out, take up some of the slack in the bag, and then once you've got a few inches to spare, roll that down and then clip it up. And then if you want to get even more air out, just put some weight on there, keep pushing, all the air will escape from this little valve. You've got a nice small little package that's going to go at the bottom of your backpack. You can also manipulate this shape a little bit as well now, look, so it fits really nicely at the bottom. Snug as a bug in a rug, or as snug as I was last night in my ZenBivy bed. Just a pad left now. So like I was saying, you are better off pumping this up to quite a high-ish pressure anyway. Last night, just before I got into bed, I had to put just like, I'd say about a few breaths worth of air. Now some people think that their pads are leaking or they're escaping. That's not this pad, it's just pads in general. But when you inflate them or pump them up, usually the air is a little bit warmer at the time, and then when the temperature drops a little bit later on in the evening, that warm air that's in your pad has shrunk. You know, like warm things expand, cold things shrink. So the air inside, the volume has changed just because of the temperature. So that means that your pad feels like it's deflated a little bit. It just needs a little bit more air in, and then usually fine for the rest of the night. And it's always normally just a couple of little breaths, or you know, half a pump sack full, whatever it is, just to give it that last little bit of pressure again that it had when you first pumped it up. Let's take a little look at the valve system while we've got a bit more time. So there's two lids on there. You do need to be careful. You know, when you pull it off, don't like tear it off sharply or anything, because they can actually break if you pull it too hard and you just pull the whole thing off. I have seen it on other different types of pads where people have done that. So just be careful with it. So the first one is the grey one. Ooh, it's a good fit. There we go. Need to warm my thumbs up. Then you can alter the pressure using this little valve here. There we go. So you can just dial in your comfort of your pad to just how you want it. Some people like it a little bit softer, some people like it a little bit harder, and you put a little bit more air back in. When it's time to pack your pad away, just unclip the red one. Pull that out and it will dump out all of the air very quickly. So if you're laid on your pad, it'll push the air out, but you'll also find that you're laid on the ground. Come on. Ooh, there we go. There goes the comfort. You can see in there, look, that is like a little foil bit of insulation in there. So that's a lot of the modern sleeping pads have got this kind of system now, where there's like a foil layer which traps and reflects warm air inside the baffles. It's another one of those times when it's good to have a little bit of room inside your tent. So you can, if you want to, just roll this up and push the air out and just put it in your bag. But I'm just going to fold it properly just to show you. So just fold it into thirds, so in half there. And then fold that over again. Some of that air pushed out. And then from the non-valve end, let me get my little bag ready. It's behind you. There we go. Just going to start rolling. Rolling, 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 rolling. And then because the valve is open at the other end, just allows any trapped air to escape. Get this reasonably tight. The bag is well sized, so you don't have to be perfect with this. There we go. And then what I do is just shove the valves back in once the air's out. There we go. Oh, there's a little bit of air still in that. That's it. If you use the one-way valve bit, can't go back in again. And then shove that back into its sack. As I said, there's plenty of room there. And then this bit goes over the top, which is part of your inflation system. And that is it. One last bit, just cover over the inflation port. Yeah, so that was the ZenBivy ultralight bed system. Let me know in the comments what you think. As I was saying, it's just my opinions. ZenBivy did send it me for free, so take anything I say with a pinch of salt, but I have also listed things that I don't like about it as well, and along with a sleeping pad that I think is actually more comfortable, which is the Nemo Eclipse, and that will still be my go-to pad. But as a full system, this is great. And if you've got the pad that you really like and you want the rest of the good bits, not that the pad's not any good, but if you want things like a sheet, if you want something to hold your pillow in place, just the freedom to be able to just move around, then have a look at the individual components if it's something you're interested in anyway. If not, you do you, I'll do me. But that is it for this one. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you in a bit.